Good evening. It's a pleasure to welcome you all here tonight, our audience here and those of you listening live on the web. Tandem Press and the Jazz Studies program at the Mead-Witter School of Music at the University of Wisconsin-Madison is pleased to present the fourth year of the Friday Night Jazz Series at Tandem Press. And this series is made possible by the incredible support of the Brittingham Fund, and the jazz live streaming is brought to you by Audio for the Arts, and that's also in conjunction with DA Productions. So thank you very much for that. And this program could not happen without Johannes Wallmann, the John and Carolyn Peterson Chair in Jazz Studies, and his colleagues John Schaefer, Jonathan Greenstein, Nick Moran, and Les Thimmig. I also want to thank the incredible students that are going to be playing tonight. Tonight's program will feature the Contemporary Jazz Ensemble, directed by Jonathan Greenstein. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Jonathan Greenstein. I'm one of the jazz area TAs at the UW-Madison School of Music and UW Jazz Department. I have the pleasure, amongst other things, to direct this incredible ensemble, which is the Contemporary Jazz Ensemble. We focus on music by living composers and basically music that we can consider contemporary, usually written within the last 25 years. It's awesome for me because that's what I do. I'm a living jazz composer, I guess. I'm alive and I compose jazz. Usually when we think about jazz, we don't really think about what the 2019 jazz, but it's an art form that's very much alive and kicking and doing, there's beautiful things happening in Madison and in Wisconsin in general and just across the world. It's a really interesting time for jazz music. So I'm excited that we get to be a part of it. And also just changing the perception of what jazz is and what jazz can be. We're definitely preparing these students to be at the forefront of what it means to be a jazz musician in 2019 and beyond, building the skill sets necessary to play contemporary jazz. They've been working on this music a lot. I'm a pretty notoriously mean band leader. I threw a lot of hard music at them and they sound incredible with it, so it's a pleasure as a teacher to see it, and it's a pleasure as a colleague to see it happen. And I'm very much excited to hear the music. Hopefully you're excited to hear the music. And I think this is all I have to say, which is already plenty. So without further ado, this is the Contemporary Jazz Ensemble. Thanks so much.
not doing it. It's fine.
Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. We are the Contemporary Jazz Ensemble. We have, let me introduce everyone on the band real quick. We've got Sean Lloyd on guitar, Matt Cousin on alto saxophone. We have Jack Mulvey. Bennett LeClaire on tenor saxophone. Jordan Kowalski on drums. My name is Adam Yezel. So the next tune that we're going to play for you is hopefully a recognizable melody by Stevie Wonder, but it's been changed up a little bit by our drummer, Jordan. So this is his arrangement of Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder.
Thank you again. That was, again, Isn't She Lovely, arranged by Jordan, our drummer. All right, he transcribed it, just kidding. All right, so this next tune is actually a tune that I wrote.
What's it called, Sean?
It was originally called New Tune, but now it's called At Tandem. So thank you. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you. That's our first set. Stick around. We'll have another set coming up before too long.
Wonderful stuff. So during intermission, we hope you will view our latest exhibition downstairs in the gallery titled Allison Sarr Printmaker. And feel free to stroll through the studio as well, just to see what we've been working on in the studio. And we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes.
Mazer, it's really a pleasure to be able to chat with you and to have you here in Madison. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Will I hold this? Yeah, thanks for having me. It's now my 4th time back here. Yeah, I don't know actually what year it was, the first year I came. It's actually probably written on one of those prints, if we look over. I'm not very good at time, but yeah, it's my 4th visit now, so it's great to be back with everyone again.
Can you tell me about your background? You're not somebody who came out of an artistic family, went to a conservatory, did sort of the formal thing. You started out as a graffiti artist, and as I think I'm understanding this correctly, you did not come from a family that was particularly artistic in this way. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, you did your homework. Yeah, I envy that sometimes actually when I read bios of other artists and I see their formal training and whatnot. But no, unfortunately or fortunately for me, I come from a graffiti background, and that pretty much started at the age of 15, and consisted of me going out in the street and writing my name. Simple as that. And it really lent itself to me at that time, my social surroundings, who hung out with, whatnot, just sort of tied in nicely. And it just gave me a lot of excitement and new opportunities. Found a lot of like-minded young guys, same as me. So it's always been in my life, and that's continued for years. And luckily now it's developed into, I amalgamated that obviously with my interest in art as well, and it's brought me to this now.
Was the original graffiti art, was it an expression of, I feel like I've got an artist's soul within me and I want to express that? Or was it more just, I feel like going out in the street and writing my name?
Yeah, you probably weren't having those profound thoughts at 15. So it was more like, I'm going to go out in the street and write my name. But hindsight, yeah, you're curious to why you do these things. And even aside from being a graffiti writer and artist, like, what drives you to do this? And I think it's a question we review constantly and try to understand, because you're self-evaluating yourself. But there was definitely, I had an interest in art, from a young age, and trying to paint murals in the school or in the classroom, or and yeah, graffiti was just, there was no boundaries really. And give a 15-year-old a kind of spray paint, this excitement there, endless possibilities. And it also, as well as me meeting these like-minded guys that I was telling you about, also gave me an opportunity to explore my city more. And so yeah, looking back, as you said there, it's definitely more than just an act of vandalism or anything like that. Like that's a small component of it. And if people believe that a lot of that subculture, that's their primary reason for doing that, well, they're wrong, because if that's the case, they'd be out robbing cars or smashing windows. These are young, creative, disciplined kids, and we had strong work ethic as well. Like, we weren't brought to school to do it. It's all self-taught, and you looked up to your peers and did it. So, like, there's a lot to be said when you remove the label of graffiti, or street art now, it's what it's called. There's a lot of young, driven artists there seeking their purpose and reason, and this just happened to be their medium, as someone might pick up sculpture and start molding clay.
So I'll just let you hold it, because this is working great. Now you're doing my job. I like that. So one of the things that really struck me in what you just said there was that when you were doing this street art, it gave you a chance to explore your city. So we're talking about Dublin, correct? Now, that intrigues me because you're getting to know not only the architecture, but people, maybe some of the social situations, maybe some of the sort of the political and social concerns of the city. And I just have to believe that did then and continues now to inform your art. Yeah. Please talk about that.
Inform my art, but also more importantly, inform me, give me a better understanding of myself, my surroundings. Maybe if I was in a studio all the time, I wouldn't have had those experiences that I've had. Really good learning. And it brought me to places in the city that I would have never went to before, and the people that I met there. And then that developed onto the world, you know. I've been in some crazy spots in the world with my artwork now and doing murals, what we'd consider now post-graffiti or maybe post-vandalism. There isn't really a label on it yet because it's still right in that movement, you know. But that's what we're labeling it as rather than street art so much, because street art is quite a broad name that I feel like could be performing on the street or something, you know, juggling or whatever. So, but yeah, there's like, the question you're asking is like, it's sort of, you almost have to compartmentalize into about 30 different things, because we're talking about 20 years of painting. You're talking about different purposes and reasons and the experience. There's so much just under this lifestyle rather than just going to painting pictures or paint. Like, it's so intertwined with yourself. And when I look at all my experiences through life, graffiti or street art or whatever it is, art has an integral part of all those experiences, even down to relationships, even down to my mother and father, those relationships, my financial situation, like couch surfing for months, or like, you know, the drive to go travel across Eastern Europe on one train ticket to go explore those cities with my artwork, you know. So it's a really, really, you know, we could probably chat for hours about that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, hopefully we can sometime. So let's talk about. I want to talk about your art in general, but first let's talk about what you're going to be doing here at Tandem Press, because obviously this is a shop that is built for printmaking, and these are some of your pieces here. So when you come to Tandem, because you've had several visits before, how do you design what you do, and how do you plan out your visits here to fit in with what Tandem does?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's never really just a general overview plan, and that's like, I will come and then I will create some work. I have a very busy schedule, fortunately, and with that, it doesn't give me maybe enough lead time. Maybe in an ideal situation, I could have a few weeks and craft some pieces and concepts. But in this instance and the last, it's like, okay, I'm going to Tandem now. And but they're an amazing facility because they help me. Sorry, they're an amazing facility for numerous reasons, because they literally nurture every possibility that you want to do. I'm like, I have this idea, and they'll problem solve everything. So when I arrived here, because it's now my fourth time, I understand the process a bit better. So I have the confidence to go, okay, I just need today to just regroup, get my bits together. And the environment in there is very, very calming, and there's a lot of headspace in comparison to Dublin at home. You know, I'm very busy there with my own space and gallery and studio. So here it's just that that sort of flow state that you want to get into. I reach it way quicker here, and that comes with confidence and experience from being here before. So then the next day, we have the blueprints, and I know the process. I literally have to give the guys one, and they can start on that, and then it'll bide me enough time to then be working on another one, and that'll bide me enough time to. So that's how it's going. And funny enough, I met the director, Paula, while painting a mural in Dublin out on the streets, so in my natural habitat. And you know, even that, like, that's a lovely story, you know, that we met each other, and she was curious. She saw me painting a very, very large mural, and she was curious, was that me? And she just came up, and we had a lovely, I didn't know who she was, and we had a great conversation, gave me my card, and we just started chatting over email, and I came and visited, and we built this relationship.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I really appreciate about Tandem is this sort of thing. They'll bring in someone very established like yourself, and then they bring in students, and people get to interact to a degree, and also see your artwork, but also have a chance to actually meet with you. And I think that's just a terrific opportunity for them, and I would think kind of fun for you as well. Yeah, I mean, you keep coming back, so I assume you like it here. That's great.
Well, they're professionals, you know, so I know what they're doing. So, with that, things work a lot easier, and there's trust in one another. But what you said there about engaging those students in the public, that's the premise of my whole work. I work in the public realm, and so that engagement. So you want your work accessible. You don't want those boundaries or those the hierarchy feeling, you know, that I used to get when going to, and that intimidation, you know. So I want my work to be very accessible through its layouts and colours and whatnot, but also, the environment that I work in, make sure that it accommodates for everyone.
There is a boldness to these works that I really, really enjoy, and we're going to get close in on some of these so that we can include this in the video. But I also want to touch. We just have a couple minutes left, and I wanted to touch on the fact that printmaking is just part of what you do. What other art forms do you enjoy, and do you like to use to express yourself?
I've studied printmaking in college a little bit. A part of a visual communications course that I did graphic design, and I enjoyed it then, but I left it, and I did graffiti, developed into murals, progressed onto doing sculpture pieces, large outdoor installations. We've done video projection pieces, and then moved on to printmaking. Had this opportunity to do this because it can lend itself a lot better to my artwork. But the reason why I would be cross-disciplinary is because I believe, you have a concept and it's problem solving. So you can't just force it into one box. Like whatever, you have to be creative in the process. So if you want to execute something, you'll find out what discipline that is. And for these sort of works, these concepts, printmaking is ideal for that.
And to wrap up, is there anything that I did not ask you, but you'd like to talk about while you're here?
Oh.
No pressure, but sometimes you miss something, and you think, I wish I could have said X, you know.
Well, what you're saying there about the public and whatnot, or like we're touching on like your life and art, and they're very integrated in one another. Like my work is a response of my environments. So the botanical work that I'm doing now, I think that's a response to living in London for years in this very congested city. And I found myself up doing a lot of hill walking, any opportunity I got, and I'd travel and go into Patagonia, Kilimanjaro, different places like that. And I think this is a response to that. Then even down to like the first print that I did with Supreme, I could see how my public work was engaging with the public outdoors. So then I wanted to represent that on a 2D. So instead of studying body forms and integrating them into my hardline graphics. So there's a lot of layers to your work, but I can see there's a huge connection there, what we were talking about earlier with my work.
Yeah, in your work, you can tell that your art comes from your beginnings. It comes from the streets and the people and the environment you came from. And I would just close by saying I think that's what makes you who you are. That's what makes you unique. And I appreciate it.
Oh, come on! I appreciate that too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Welcome back, everyone. For those of you just now tuning in, we've got the Contemporary Jazz Ensemble playing tonight. and I think they want to say some words before they start playing.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the second half of our performance. Once again, we are the UW-Madison Contemporary Jazz Ensemble. We're going to start this second half with a tune by Julian Shore entitled, what's it called again? Which Way Now? Which Way Now? It's pretty interesting. It's in 5/4 meter, which is not every day you hear a tune in 5/4. Unless you listen to cool music, in which case you should, come talk to me after this show because I don't listen to enough cool music. Anyhow, the band again, that's Bennett LeClaire on tenor sax, Jack Mulvey on trumpet, Sean Lloyd on guitar, Matt Cousin on alto sax, and my partner in crime back there is Adam Yazel on bass. I play the drums. My name is Jordan. All right, let's get started.
Thank you. That was Which Way Now. This next tune is one that I wrote entitled Dysphoria.
Thank you so much. How about for the Contemporary Jazz Ensemble? Thanks so much. This is a great chance for me. So as a TA, my funding actually ends in a few weeks, and I have to move on and write a big dissertation. So this is actually a great chance for me to say thank you for all you guys for working on all this music. It means the world for me. And thank you to UW-Madison for having the faith in me to teach anybody, but let alone these guys. And to thank Tandem Press for having the faith in UW-Madison Jazz and have us here several times throughout the year, and it's awesome. It's also a great chance to say thank you to Buzz and all the people on the sound. They've been doing a great job with the streaming and the sound. It's super helpful. Yeah, it's been a great experience for me in UW-Madison as a TA, and hopefully they had a great experience. I still have to grade them, so they have to be careful and just nod in agreement. But all of this would mean nothing if you weren't here. So thank you so very much for coming out and supporting live music and listening and hopefully having a good time. Yeah, so you can clap for yourselves. It's fine. Yeah, we're proud of you. Yeah, so thanks so much. Please have another round. Look at all the art. There's lots of great stuff happening. There's lots of great stuff happening in Tandem Press throughout the year as well, and you should check it out. And yeah, thanks so much. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you so much for all of you that came out and all of you listening at home. And thank you again, Jonathan, and all the students, the UW Contemporary Jazz Ensemble. So this is the last concert of our spring series. That concludes this for the season. But just as a reminder, Tandem Press is open weekly, and on the weekends we're open from 10 to 4 on Saturdays. So feel free to come in on Saturdays as well. Thank you so much. Let's hear it again for the students.